Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. If you visited my channel before, you know that there are several topics that I am really passionate about, and notebooking is one of them. But today I wanted to share with you something that I haven't talked about yet, but it is a question that has arisen from time to time, and it is something that is important enough that we need to discuss it here. And that is for when your child doesn't like notebooking. Now, believe it or not, as much as I love notebooking and as much as a staple as it has become in our home, yes, there are children who really seem to not like it. And I think that there are a few things that you can actually think about when trying to troubleshoot why your child might not like notebooking. But there is one thing that I really point out to you before I get into anything, and that is this. My children did not absolutely love notebooking when we first started. They had an aversion to writing because of all of the other techniques that we tried and failed at over the years. So they just had this mentality that any writing, no matter what sort of writing, it just wasn't going to be good. It wasn't going to be fun. So pretty much they didn't even want to give it a chance at first. It was just like an automatic response. No, we don't want to do that. So that is something that I really want to point out to you right away. This isn't something that my kids jumped in and were immediately like, oh, Mom, this is a breakthrough. What a wondrous thing for us to do. Thank you, Mom, for doing this for us. No, that didn't happen. So that is actually the very first thing that I want you to consider if you have a child who does not like notebooking, and that is, have you given it time? Yes, it takes time for a child to transition into writing because, like it or not, there very often is pretty much writing involved in notebooking. That's almost what it's all about. But what I do want to say is, when you are busy giving it time for your kids to get used to it, you really want to ease into it. You don't want it to be something that you automatically expect them to do huge pagefuls of writing right away from the very beginning. You want to ease into it. You want to just have them do a little bit at a time. And again, you just have to give them the opportunity to get used to it, to understand what it's all about. And they really have to start to recognize that when you are notebooking, or when they are notebooking, this isn't like a normal writing curriculum would be. This is not something where they will be told specifically what they have to write about. This isn't something where they are specifically told what questions to answer or what angle they have to go at something from. Notebooking is something that they can make their own. And I think that a lot of kids have trouble accepting that because very often they just become so used to us, the parents, giving them what it is that they're supposed to be doing that, you know, it just takes time. So that is the very first thing. If you've just started and automatically are saying, oh my gosh, my kids don't like it, give it time. It could be a couple weeks, it could be a couple months. But while there might be a child or two who dives in right away and automatically loves it from the very beginning, chances are your kids are going to need to get used to it, and that is very normal. So the second thing that I want you to ask yourself if your child does not like notebooking is, are you doing it too much? And this is something that I am extremely happy that I read about notebooking before I actually dove into it. And this one I actually picked up from Jimmy Quick on the notebookingfairy.com. She wrote a book called Notebooking Success. And I actually did a review of that on my channel here. And that is the place where she really made it a point to tell you, don't do it too much. Choose one topic and try to stick to around one notebooking page a day. And that was a lifesaver for me because when I get excited about something, I'm all in. I go all out. And that's something that I really would have done. I really would have had my kids doing 5 notebooking pages a day if I would not have read that from the very beginning. So you have to think about that to yourself. Are you doing it too much? Do you have your kids doing it for too many subjects or too many times throughout the day? Because, you know, I have gone over lots of different types of notebooking styles that you can use in your homeschool. And some of them really can seem so appealing, and it can be so tempting to try them all right away. But what I really want to point out to you is that if you are starting on notebooking, 1 notebooking page a day. And you know, my kids and I have been doing it for a couple of years now, and now they are still doing it 1, maybe 2 at the most, notebooking pages a day. Because the whole point of notebooking is to get your kids to enjoy writing, or to at least find it tolerable. And if you are pressuring them to do notebooking for several subjects a day, it's going to get old really, really quick. So keep that in mind. 1 page a day. And I also have to point out that if you are really excited about trying different types of notebooking, you know, because there's copywork and there's interest-led notebooking and there's nature study notebooking and there's journaling. Yeah, there's a lot. Or you could even think about, you know, notebooking for history or science or language arts. There are so many options out there. And if you find that you are itching to try more than one style of notebooking, I would suggest that you use some sort of a loop schedule, which is what we do in our homeschool. We don't do, you know, we do 4 different types of notebooking now, but we don't do them all every single day. We do a loop schedule. We do 1, then the next, then the next, then the next, and then we start back over again. So, you know, if you want to try, say, interest-led notebooking, journaling, and copywork, if you want to try those 3, okay, you could do 1 page of copywork. Then the next day, have them do 1 page of interest-led notebooking. And the next day, have them do 1 page of journaling. And then start it over again, start that loop fresh over again the 4th day. You know, and so that's what I would suggest that you would do if you really, really want to try doing more than 1 type at a time. But I highly recommend that you really do just start out with 1 kind so as not to make it confusing for your kids. 1 page a day. And I don't mean 1 page per subject. I mean 1 page total. That's it. So the third thing that you need to ask yourself if your kids don't like notebooking is, are you using the right style of notebooking? And you know, I just mentioned that before. All of the different types of notebooking that you can do. You know, journaling is a fantastic option for kids who hate to write, because what journaling is, well, what I consider journaling to be is more of a free writing journal. It's something where your kids can literally write about anything that they want, any style of writing, no holds barred, that's it. They could write a poem. They could copy lyrics from a song. They could write a grocery list or a list of things that they want for their birthday. They could write a short story. They could write a chapter in a longer creative writing story. They could write a paragraph or an essay on their favorite animal. They could write a summary of a book that they're reading. They literally can write absolutely anything that they want in their journal. It is completely up to them, and that is something that will completely make it their own, and that's why I say that journaling is a great way for you to start notebooking with a child who absolutely does not like writing at all whatsoever. Now, interest-led notebooks might be something that your more curious kids might really find interesting. Those kids who really like to investigate and dig deeply into things, who really have a passion for something and will let everybody around them know it. Interest-led notebooks are great for kids like them. Nature study journals are great for kids who love to be outside, love to explore, love to draw pictures and insects and, you know, study the anthills, watch documentaries. Those are great for kids like that. Copywork is a great style of notebooking to start with your younger children. That is the very first type of notebook that I introduce to my children once they start notebooking is copywork. Just copying what other people have already written and just making sure that they write it exactly as it is written, using all of the capital letters, all of the punctuation, making sure that words are spelled correctly. That is another form of notebooking. So if you have a younger child, that might be less intimidating for them to copy someone else's words, but so that they get a feel of having their own notebook that they will one day include their own words in. So really, and that's not the only kinds of notebooking out there. There are so many ways that you can incorporate notebooking. Another great notebooking book is by Cindy Rushton. It is, oh my gosh, I can't even think of the name of it. I think it's You Can Be a Binder Queen Too. I think that's what it's called. So if you want to actually Google that, I think it's Notebooking, Yes, You Can Be a Binder Queen Too. And I did also do a review of that book. I think it was on the same book as my Notebooking Success review that I did of Jimmy Quick's book. So I will link those in the description box in case you want to see those. But yeah, that one also has tons of ideas on ways that you can incorporate notebooking. And that, it really, really got me excited. That is what, I think I even said it in the review. That one got me so excited because I realized all of the ways that you can do this in your homeschool. And I just wanted to dive right in and do all of them right away. And then Jimmy Quick's book kind of grounded me. It brought me back to earth and said, okay, hold on, hold your horses. You're going to drive your kids crazy if you try to do too much at once. They were a perfect balance. One was about excitement and the other one kept me grounded. I really recommend that you get both of them, and they are both extremely low cost. Let me see. So another question that you might want to ask yourself is, are you being too critical? Are you looking through their notebooks and pointing out every little mistake that they are making? Are you telling them, you spelled this word wrong here? You should have used a capital here. Where is your comma? I haven't seen a period in your entire paragraph. You know, when kids are first beginning to get used to writing, when kids are starting to get comfortable expressing themselves on paper, the very, very most important thing that you can do for them is let them develop their content writing skills. Let them get used to writing good content. Teaching your kids the mechanical aspects of writing can come later, and I often say that if you really want to get into it right away, copy work is a great way. That is one type of notebooking that I think it doesn't hurt kids as much if you are correcting their copy work, because they are literally just copying what someone else wrote down. So if you tell them, hey, you know, look at the book here. See, there was a capital T on this word the, but you forgot to do it there. So I think that if you do it in a copybook, it's a little bit different than if you are going in there and criticizing or sometimes putting red marks over something that they spent a lot of time working on, something that they might be proud of, and finally thinking to myself, wow, I actually enjoyed doing that. So you want to be really, really careful about being super critical of their work when they are notebooking. There is a time and a place for teaching mechanics, but I don't think that notebooking is one of those times, at least not until they get older, you know, like high school age, upper middle school age, or at least to the point where, again, they're completely comfortable with writing and they would not be held back in any way from you just giving them some constructive criticism. There are other ways to teach writing mechanics. And so the last thing that I want you to ask yourself if your child does not enjoy notebooking is, have you allowed them to make it their own? You know, that is something that can be huge for some kids. Now, by making it their own, it could mean one of many things. Some kids might like to decorate their notebooks. They might like to decorate it with stickers and glitter and cardstock and washi tape and all sorts of things like that. There are creative, artistic kids, crafty kids who enjoy doing that sort of thing. And if you have a child like that, sometimes, you know, when you are notebooking, keep a box of supplies like that you can just set out on the table for them to decorate with after they complete their notebooking page. Or you could choose to do it on a weekly basis. Say every Friday be the day that they get to decorate their notebooks. But no matter when or how you choose to do that, it is a way that you are letting your kids make it their own. Now, another way that you can let your kids make their notebook their own, if they're not so crafty, they might really enjoy it if you are giving them full reign on the topic that they are choosing. This is why interest-led notebooks are so good, because kids are bound to do a much more thorough job of researching something if it's a topic that they themselves have come up with. And you know, I think it's really, really important that you point out to your kids that this notebook that they are doing can be a field guide for them. It can be a reference that they can go back to from time to time if they ever want to revisit that topic and see what information they have there. It can also be a keepsake, something that they keep down the line. And this is why it is really important to, you know, go out there and spend those couple dollars on sheet protectors, because very often the papers in the notebooks, depending on what type of notebook you use, they can rip very easily. So keep them protected. Let your kids know that these things are important. There's something that you're going to keep, and there's something that years down the line, if they choose to, they can take them and keep them for themselves. And I think that's something that a lot of kids might also enjoy. But, you know, when it comes down to it, I really think that it's important to say that notebooking is not a magic solution. It is not something that every single kid is 100% going to enjoy. I don't think there is a single thing out there that okay, not a single academic thing out there, because if you would say like all homeschool kids probably like lunch, and all homeschool kids probably like when they have breaks. So I won't say that, but you know, I don't think there's a single academic aspect of homeschooling out there that is perfect for all kids and is always the perfect fit. But what I am going to tell you is that notebooking is something that is definitely worth it. It's definitely worth putting time into. It's definitely worth giving it a chance, seeing how it develops over a period of time, because if your kids do take to it, and I have to say that most people that I have talked to, their children really do end up enjoying it. But again, it might take time, but in the end, it's something that they do enjoy, or at the very least don't mind when compared to doing other sorts of curriculum. You know, they might not absolutely love it and jump for joy at it like I do, but they might mind it much less than those curriculums out there that really can be bone dry if you're honest with yourself. So anyway, I hope that these questions have enlightened you a little bit, given you some ideas, and that is all that I have for you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one down below. And if you like my work, you can check out my Patreon page and see what rewards I have for my patrons there. And I hope you have a great day.